What's up, guys? ATCG here. Welcome back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck of the Day. Today we're profiling a very old deck, a deck that can finally possibly be a deck again. Not really, but it's a very nostalgic thing for the old Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. It was a very hated deck back in the day, but now it has become a nostalgic deck, and I'm talking about Tele. With the new ban list, Dark Arm Dragon finally went back to 3. We're still missing a couple cards to have this deck back at full power, but it's actually a deck that now that its win condition is actually back at 3, so you can use the same tools that you used back in the day, with of course some new stuff being added to the deck. So let's begin with the all-star monster Dark Arm Dragon. This card used to be so much broken back in 2008, not so much now, but it's still a really good card. If you have 3 darks in the grave, you can drop it on the field, banish a dark from the grave, pop a card. Not any single one of these effects is once per turn. You can drop all 3 of them if you have them. You can pop as many cards on the field as you want, as long as you can keep getting dark monsters in the graveyard. Really good card, and with this deck you can manipulate the amount of darks you have in the grave very easily, so it will never be a dead card in your hand, unless you draw it super late game when you have a bunch of darks in the grave. For the hero engine, 3 malicious. Of course, these two went together back in the day. They're going together even to this day because it's the best way to keep getting darks on the grave while still being able to banish them, so you can control the amount of you have in your deck. And of course, this gives you link plays and synchro plays in this deck. 1 Diamond Dude. It's not as optimal anymore, but it would just not be a Teledad deck without a Diamond Dude. It's not that bad if you don't have a good normal summon. This card can possibly give you a really good plus during the next turn because you do play a lot of normal spells in this deck. And of course, everyone remembers the good old Diamond Dude sending D-Draw. So, yeah. And for the elemental heroes, 3 Stratos, you can search your malicious for your destiny draw, so you can draw cards. You can search your Diamond Dude, anything you need. And 3 Shadow Mist, because that's the way. Another way to search your malicious, because you want to make sure that your destiny draw is always live, so you can turbo out your engine. So that's why you need to send this to the grave either with your Armageddonite or your Greffer to be able to get your malicious. 1 Krebons. It wouldn't be Teledad without Krebons. Unfortunately, Teleport is still at 1. I don't think it will ever go to 3, but at least it's a card that can summon from the hand as well from the deck, so it's not that bad playing 1-on-1, even if you end up drawing Krebons. You can still get it on the field to go for your synchro plays. 1 Armageddonite and 1 Dark Greffer. In any dark deck, these 2 are mandatory. 3 Destrudo and Mermer. I think this engine gives a lot of going first and going second power to the deck. Going second because Yazi is a boss of a card that can deal with a card on the field, also allowing you to go into Boral Sword. And Destrudo also allows you to get some negation going first. And Danger Engine, 1 Nessie, unfortunately it went to 1, but we're still going to play to 1, 2 Jackalope and 2 Chichinoko. The whole purpose of the deck is to dig through your deck as fast as possible. You play a lot of draw cards, so you can see the cards you need to get to your win condition. Usually you want to go second, because it's a deck that wants to try to clear your opponent's board with the Strudo and with Dark Arm, so you cannot decay, but it can go first very consistently. So yeah, that's why I play Dangers. They also help you link climb. 3 Destiny Draw, of course. We all remember the good old D-Draw with Mali. You can search your Mali whenever you need in this deck, so it's not like it'll ever be dead. 3 Allure, so many dark targets. There are some times where it'll have a lot of duplicates, like double Shadow Mist or double Destrudo, so you can get rid of those. 1 Upstart, because the deck can do a lot more than 8,000 damage, so playing Upstart doesn't hurt you at all. 1 Teleport to get Krebons, so you can do your synchro plays. 1 Hero Lives. If this card was in more copies, it would be a lot more useful, because sometimes you need your normal summon for Greffer or your Armageddonite, because you will end up drawing them with all that draw power. So getting Stratos is okay, but yeah, that's the only problem of this deck, is that it does have a lot of normal summons that you want to commit to the field. So that's pretty much the biggest problem that it has to deal with. 1 Rhoda to search pretty much your whole warrior package. 1 Foolish, mainly to send Malicious or send Shadow Mist if you have Destiny Draw, and it can also send Destrudo to get to your synchro plays. And 1 Monster Reborn, because you can send cards like your Stratos to the grave and you can use its effect again because it's not a hard monster turn. And the only trap I'm maining is through Solemn Judgment. It's the trap that will be live at most throughout the whole stage of the game, because no matter on which side of the game you are, you can always pay half your life points. So I think it's a really good card to have because the deck doesn't have that much going first. So I think playing a little bit of disruption in a trap form is okay, and you will probably see at least one with all the draw power this deck has. For the extra deck, one Bryonak, because of Krabons, you can tag it with your level 4s, and you can discard your Dangers, you can discard your Dead Mallies, your Destrudos. You have a lot of cards you don't mind discarding, so you can bounce your opponent's board. One Yazi, because this gives you so much more pressure going second when combined with Destrudo. The only problem is, with all the draw power, there will be games that you will draw Mermer, so if you have just Trudeau, you should try to get Mermer out of your deck before you start drawing all those cards, just to make sure that you don't draw it later. There's a chance that you can tribute summon it if you have Malicious and cards you can special summon, but that's a scenario that's not very optimal. One Cyber's Quantum, really good monster to go with just Trudeau. You can just start bouncing monsters. It would be better if Thunder Dragons were still a thing, but yeah, since Colossus is now banned, I don't see it being that useful, but it still could come up in some scenarios. One Dragster, because the deck, like I said, doesn't have a lot of going first power, so Destrudo needs to supplement for all that lack of power. And for the level 8s, we used to play so many level 8s, but Teleport is at 1, you're not going to get too many, so I just play the 2 that I think are going to come up a lot. So one is Dragon Ogre with Tenny. It's a good monster that can you go when going first. It can be a disruption because it banishes your opponent's monster when they activate their effects, and it also is really good going second because if it destroys a monster, it gains that much attack and it can attack again on a monster, so it can deal with multiple threats while also dealing a lot of damage. I think it's a really good card. And one Scrap Dragon because you might have a lot of cards that you don't want to use, like second copies of Dedro, like second copies of Allure. If you can get this to clear your opponent's field, it gives the deck a little bit more steam to what it actually wants to do, which is clear your opponent's board and attack for game. And the links, Link Rebo because of Mare. Same with Link Spider because you want to climb into your nightmares while also keep drawing cards and deal with your opponent's board. Cerberus because you need to destroy your opponent's monsters. Phoenix, destroy Backrow, Unicorn. If you can get this with calling to with Cerberus or Phoenix, you can deal with multiple threats, and you can also go into the Ningirsu, sorry, to be able to send another copy of that copy of a spell, so you can deal with your opponent's monster to all the opponent's card as well. Boreload. Now that Thunder is a bit out of the picture, maybe Boreload will start seeing less play, but I still have it in the extra deck because you don't know yet how the format is going to unfold. Sword, because of course it's the way to a TK when you're going with Mare. And one Appaloosa, because this deck can potentially spam a lot of monsters on the field. So again, with the Dangers and all the Mallies, if you can go first and set up possibly like an Appaloosa with a Dragster and maybe a Judgment set, then this might be enough to be able to stop your opponent to get another chance to ATK them next turn. So, yep, this is one of the oldest. It's the first tier 0 deck we ever had. It used to be the most hated deck, and now it's a deck everyone wants to see again. It's not that good, trust me. If you want to try it for a fun, it's a very fun deck to play. I've never even been able to summon 3 dads in this deck because it used to have more tools. It had like cards like Return from a Different Dimension, but we don't have that. So the deck still is missing a couple cards. But yeah, it's a deck that if you want to try it at a locals, you can go for it and have a lot of fun, but I wouldn't recommend it for anything higher than that. Maybe if Teleport goes to 3, the deck will have pretty much the playstyle it wants in a bit more consistent way. But for now, it does what it does. It's a very fun deck, very nostalgic deck, and I'd be happy to if you guys leave any suggestions for the deck if you have any improvements because it's a deck I haven't touched on for such a long time. So this is just a sample deck of what I think should be right now, but maybe there's something I'm completely missing. So if you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comments below, and I would be happy to try out anything that you have to suggest for the deck. So yep, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel because we have a lot more amazing deck profiles. Now that the ban list has dropped, we're going to update so many new decks, so look forward to that, and we'll see you next time.